Dear diary, can I tell you a secret? I've learned very quickly in early life how to manage what I shared. I learned that different parts of my story created different reactions in people. Like some parts made people feel close to me, or they got me. Some parts made people judge me, or laugh at me as we were kids. Some parts made people feel uncomfortable, so they were being defensive. And some parts I quickly understood were better kept to myself. So without even realizing, I think I began choosing which parts of me to show to people and which parts of me to keep to myself and maybe protect, I would say. At that time, I don't really think I saw it as me hiding. I think it was the way I learned to survive and adapt to society. It was the way I learned how to read the room and understand what people were expecting from me. I was learning how much of myself was safe to bring into each room. I thought that was a fantastic skill to have, and that learning really followed me into adulthood. It followed into my relationships and my motherhood, my career, definitely my career, into my leadership, and eventually into the newest business I created a few years back. So, like when we start working, we are given feedback, a lot of feedback. We are being given development plans, reviews. That happens even in school. We're told what we're good at and what we need to improve on. We're really shown what success looks like and what a good school pupil is, what a good employee, how a good employee behaves, how a good leader communicates, how an ambitious woman should really present herself. And even though some of that is useful, as we grow and we'll learn things, I have most recently started to question something around that. Because, like, for example, even when companies tell us to bring our unique self to work, or the society tells us to bring our unique self, our uniqueness is often only encouraged within a framework that somebody else has already created. Like, they will show you that what are the qualities that they value, what good looks like in there. So they almost define the success for you, what type of person succeeds in that place, how you should speak to represent, how you should lead, how much emotion is acceptable, how much empathy, what is the professional thing to do by their own guidelines, and what is not. So the best things humans do is adapting. We are incredibly adaptable. I know I am. And when I look back, I've mastered that. Wow. I became the employee the company needs all the time. the leader that team expects, the mother that society approves of, the wife who keeps everything together, that the woman of the house, as well as doing business, as well as doing everything else, the business owner. When I went into my business, I became like the business owner that customers want to see and hear and speak of. I'm the strong one, the capable one, the reliable one, the ones who always find. I used to love saying that I'm the one who always finds a solution, always has the answers. And perhaps many of, some of those things are part of us, but they are definitely not all of us. They don't define us. And one of the things I want to say here, the problem is not that we adapt. We should adapt, and adaptability can protect us, and it can help us grow, and it can create opportunities in life, and it can help us survive difficult chapters of our lives. The problem comes when we adapt to the norm for so long that we no longer know what is us adapting and what is actually just us. I feel like I got to a point where I became so good at showing people the version of myself they need to see that I almost lost contact with the most honest version of who I am. And it's happened to me in different ways through my life. I became very good at achieving my goals, every single one of them, no matter what the expense. Very good at taking responsibility. Very, very good at taking responsibility. It was part of my leadership style. Very good at walking into chaos and creating order for many years. Very good at solving all the problems, everybody's problems, everything that was being dependent on me. And that ability helped me really build a strong career. He helped me lead really powerful and successful teams, and he helped me build a business successful. I said successful from the corporate side, and he really helped me build my business from kitchen. He helped me build something and serve meals and supporting my family through my own business. And I am so, so proud of all of that. I don't want to erase any of it. I don't want to pretend it wasn't important or that I'm not deeply grateful for the journey. But what I'm beginning to understand is that being proud of the life you have so far created does not mean you are never allowed to question the choices and where you're going. I'm starting to realize that you can be grateful for what you have built and the way you have built it, and still ask whether is this the life you want to continue living. I really feel that I can love something and still recognize that it may no longer hold all of who I need to be. It's not 100% all of me. It's an old dream, but it doesn't have to be turned into a lifelong contract. And that takes me to what I really think that this is the part that we don't really tend to talk long enough. We are encouraged in a perfect world. We are encouraged to set goals, to work really hard, to stay committed to our dreams, to keep going, But we are rarely encouraged to stop for a second and ask, is this still the dream? What am I chasing? Is this still the dream? Does this still make me happy? Does this life still feels like mine? Do I even know who I am in all of this? Or am I just continuing because this is how now everyone expects me to be? Anyway, my first Substack letter begins with an idea that has been following me for a while during my healing journey. That most of us don't choose our lives. We truly inherit them. And if you really sit with this idea for a long time, you realize where you are with that. We really inherit beliefs about what success should feel like, about what money should feel like, about work, about what security is, what safety is, about what motherhood should look like, or what makes a good mother, however you want to father or parenting, about what a woman should do or shouldn't do, how should she behave in society, about how much a mother should sacrifice, like the guilt of a mother is real, about what ambition should look like after you have children, about what is realistic, I would say, if that's realistic or maybe responsible, and for what is possible, what we should go for once we have children, and what we are a certain point in our lives. We inherit timelines, truly inherit timelines, expectations, rules, definitions, really definitions of a good life. We don't write our own rule book, do we? Then we build all our lives around those ideas without always stopping. Without maybe never stopping to ask where they come from. Is it something that I believe in? Are they mine? Are they still representing me? Do I even want to continue like this? For a very long time, I thought freedom meant working for myself. Genuinely, when I set up my business, that was like the bit I thought, yes, I nailed it. Then I built my business and discover that you can actually own your business and still feel owned by the life you have created, because I used exactly the same tools that I had available as a leader. You can leave one framework and unknowingly build yourself in another framework. Give me 1 second. Sorry, my little boy was shouting. It's very early in the morning. So what I was saying, you can expect somebody else's expectation and become the victim of your own expectations, the one that are important. You become the successful. You put these expectations on yourself. The success will be the business owner, be the mother who managed everything, who created this freedom for their family, the woman who should be grateful. That's a big thing, because from outside, she has achieved what she once said she wanted. Sorry, that's a big one. What happens when the person who created the dream changes? What happens when the person who created the dream? What happens when you grow inside yourself? What happens when you start wanting a different rhythm of life? You want more space and presence and family time. You want more travel, like I do. Creativity, you discover that you're creative. You want more honesty. What happens when your old definition of success is no longer big enough to hold your whole life? I don't think the answer is to abandon everything overnight. This is not about waking up tomorrow, one day, leaving your job, closing your business, and running away from responsibility. Even on some days, I would like to do that too. I think life ownership begins much more quietly than extreme decisions. It begins with being really honest. It begins with having the courage to examine, to look at the life we are living, to notice which little choices still feel like ours, which choices once protected us but now in a way restrict us, which identities still fit, and which ones you just continue wearing because other people recognize you in them, even though you don't recognize yourself. I'm asking, what do I actually want? Not what I should want, not what would look impressive for outside, or what would make other people feel comfortable. Even what do I believe success is? What do I want my days to feel like? What really matters to me? These are the kind of questions that I started asking myself. And I'll be honest, I genuinely don't have all the answers. I'm not speaking from the end of this journey or with all the answers. I'm right in the middle of it. I am constantly questioning, listening, unlearning. That's a big thing. Trying to understand which parts of my life were consciously chosen and which parts were inherited. That is the big piece of work that I'm doing. And there's a lot around how I am as a mother, which paths I make, which choices I make because I choose them with my heart, or which choices I make from fear, especially around my career and my motherhood. So this is why I want to start the conversations. I no longer want to pretend that a successful looking life is automatically a whole one, whatever success is people define, especially for women, especially for mothers. Motherhood should be part of our wholeness. We should be able to achieve everything else that we want and be great mothers. It should not mean that every part of us must disappear. It should not require us to sacrifice our identity, our ambition, our health, our freedom, our dreams, just to prove that we are good mothers. And ambition should not require us to sacrifice being present with our family and connected with our children and our peace just to prove we are successful women. Surely there must be another way. There must be an honest way, a whole life way, an honest way where motherhood can be part of. Maybe the first step is not changing our entire lives. Maybe the first step is just simply noticing where the disconnection from our hearts is, which is kind of where I am. Where have you become so good at being who everybody else needed you to be that you have forgotten, and I know I have forgotten, who I am when nobody asking anything from you? What parts of you of my story I'm still protecting? What parts of myself I still need editing to fit a room? What I've accepted as normal just because I inherited it? And what might become possible if I allow myself to question it all? Anyway, I don't know if I bored you or not, but this is what I want to explore here on this channel and on Substack. The belief and defaults we build our lives around, around motherhood, work, success, what money is, food. So everybody knows me, I'm a foodie. Family, you know how that can be. Aging, I'm very passionate about longevity in the joyful way, freedom, and what it really means to take ownership of the life we are creating. What that really means, not in the perfect scenario and what others define it, but in a very honest me way. I've written more about this in my first Substack letter, which is called Most of Us Don't Choose Their Lives, We Inherit Them. And I will leave the link below if you like to continue this conversation with me. But I think for now, just take a quiet moment and ask yourself, and be honest, how much of my life have I consciously chosen, and how much of it have I simply learned to perform? So dear diary, maybe the secret is that I'm still learning who I am underneath all the versions of me that learned how to survive. And maybe for the first time ever, I am ready to find out. And on another episode, I'll talk to you about Dear Diary, and why that is there, and why I start the videos with Dear Diary. Bye.